I'm thrilled to introduce you to yet another incredible member of Wedgwood's team. Today I am here with Chris, one of our recreation therapists who works with the kids in Wedgwood's residential care through therapeutic activities. Thanks for sitting down for a coffee break conversation, Chris. I'll let you introduce yourself a bit, share what you do here, and how long you've been a part of the team.
All right. I've been at Wedgwood now for about 6 years. I was a recreation therapist in the Antonini home for 5 of those years, and then I switched over in December to the Zondervan home. So I've had both experience with working with teenage girls and teenage boys. Quite different, but same excitement.
Yeah.
As a rec therapist, I pretty much provide all the recreation leisure activities, outings, groups, special events, helped with all the programming and planning for those.
Great. So as a recreation therapist doing all of these activities, how does that role in kind of your department fit into residential care here at Wedgwood?
We are actually a really big part. We're not only rec therapists, but we're also youth treatment specialists on the unit. So we are definitely a part of the team. We provide daily care for the kids as well as providing all the activities ranging anywhere from walking programs to art therapy to pet therapy to gardening group to all sorts of outings in the community. So we are actually a really big part of that team.
Great. And so it's not just like planning group therapy, but it's all the other like fun activities too, right?
Oh yes, and we're actually getting ready to go to Michigan Adventure coming up here in a few weeks, and the kids love those activities. It's what they live for. They really work hard on their goals so they can meet those goals and they can attend the activities. We just got back from doing a 3 mile outing at 3 Mile Project. They really enjoyed that. We do all sorts of activities. Frederick Meyer Gardens, the zoo. They love John Ballpark Zoo. Any movies. They love movies. We just got done seeing the new Thor movie, and they were just thrilled to see that. They just love getting out in the community, being part of the community.
Yeah, get to just be kids.
Yes, exactly. Especially over the summer break.
Yeah. So August is Wellness Month, speaking of summer, and the overall well-being of kids and families in West Michigan is something that Wedgwood is committed to supporting and improving. And I read recently that there are 8 dimensions of wellness: emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical, environmental, financial, occupational, and social. So how does recreation therapy here at Wedgwood fit into our holistic approach to care and addressing all of these different types of wellness?
Well, as a rec therapist, when the kids come into our program, we pretty much assess, we plan out their activities, we implement those activities, and then we evaluate those activities. And through that assessment process, we find out where their abilities lie and where their challenges lie. And so a lot of them will come in with different concerns in various areas. And one of the major ones is social skills, their social domain that you're talking about. So we will implement programs based around the social, and that's pretty much everything that we do. Any kind of group activity we do, any outing we go to, any time that we communicate with different people outside of Wedgwood, any youth group experiences we go to, we discuss social skills that are needed in those areas. We do physical. We do the anything from the walking program around the Jesus Trail, which is really a great program, to physical fitness in the wellness center, to gym day in the gym. We've done different runs throughout the Grand Rapids community, more of a walk, but hey, we completed it.
Right.
And so we do that sort of physical. We do spiritual, because spiritual is such a big part of Wedgwood's program. We do daily devotions. We do daily prayers. We do youth group at GR First. We plan out for them to attend a church service on Sunday mornings. We support any chapel activities. Cognitive, that can range throughout all of our programming, just teaching them ways to develop appropriate, healthy leisure and recreational skills. A lot of them come in and all they're used to be doing is either hanging on their phones or their computers or getting in trouble out in the community related with drug abuse or, just criminal activity. So when they come here, I try to show them different activities that can be just as fun and more appropriate. Let's see, financial on there, they do errand run every week. So they have to pretty much look at what's in their account. They have to budget out that account. They have to go try to purchase it. They always never have enough. So they always have to kind of scale back a little bit and bring back receipts so they learn how to do the financial aspect. And I also talk about whenever we go on an outing, I'm like, especially the parks. I do a lot of parks because it's something that they can do when they get out. So when they leave Wedgwood and they don't have a rec therapist that is putting money into the program and they're on their own, we talk about how parks are a great alternative, what you can do at parks, and each community usually has its own park. We talk about libraries and how that the same way they can do tons of activities. They can give books and CDs. They can do their activities at the libraries, and also parks and recreation departments and how they offer activities that are affordable. Environmental. I try to get them outside as much as possible. I find that our kids that have anxiety disorders really open up when they get out there on that Jesus trail. We walk 2 laps. It's a part of a program. They get a reward at the end of it. But the most they really start to open up when you start walking around. You're out in nature. There's fresh air. There's sunshine. The noise level is cut in half or even more so than that. And they really start to relax. And they start to like, oh, wow, yeah, look at this. We find frogs. We find snakes. We find all sorts of bugs. We find all sorts of interesting things. And they really start to be kids once again. They get out and they see how nice it is to be outside. So there's a lot of those areas that we do touch. We do art therapy and music therapy to help with the emotional states. So art therapy is huge because it allows them to express themselves through different mediums. They can use clay. We've done paint on canvas. We do coloring. We do all sorts of different stuff that they are able to pursue on the unit, and then they can keep it when they're done. Sometimes we'll put it up and then we'll give it back to them when they're done. And also music therapy. I've used music therapy multiple times because music is huge to them. It is. They love it. It's they always want their MP3 players. When they start getting stressed, they want to put those on and go to their rooms and listen to their rap or whatever it is that helps them calm down. But what I do through music therapy is I ask them specific songs they want to hear, the music that they kind of like. So I'll play it back to them and I'll give them their lyrics, and so they can. And we talk about how music can affect their life both positively and negatively. So some of the lyrics some of them are really good and some of them are not so good. So use that too.
So when these areas of wellness are addressed and supported and nurtured, what are some of the changes that we begin to see in kids since they're all so connected? I'm sure it has a big impact that they're all being addressed here.
I think the main thing I see a reduction in anxiety. I see them start to relax. I see them start to feel more comfortable in who they are. Their self-esteem definitely gets raised quite a bit. You see more of their leadership skills start to come out. Like you start seeing them on the unit maybe take control of their what they're supposed to be doing, their goals. And you see them sometimes even with their peers. They start to support their peers that are struggling. So I definitely an increase in the self-esteem. I see they start to voice more in an appropriate way what they need and what they want. And so they'll come to me and say, Miss Chris, I would like to do this. I would like to go to Michigan Adventure. I was like, oh, that sounds a great idea. What do you think what do we need to get in place for that to happen? And they're always like, well, everyone needs to get on the same boat so we're all meeting our goals and we can all attend. And I'm like, that's exactly it. So maybe we can support that. We'll start looking up prices for tickets. We'll start looking up, what are we going to eat when we get there? It's just, so I definitely see, increase in self-esteem, leadership skills, them getting a voice to express what they like and what they don't like. They'll tell me, do we have to go back out? Yes, we're going outside. But, it's just funny. I definitely see a positive impact on their lives.
From your recreation therapy perspective, what is one thing that we all could do to improve our wellness? Is there a piece of advice for caregivers to help support kids' wellness?
I think I'm a big advocate in being active. Getting outside, enjoying nature, walking. Walking is a very simple activity. You can do it in the mall during the winters. You can do it outside. I'm big about going out, and we live in West Michigan, right? There are a million parks out there, and they have either for easy trails for very beginners, or you can go to like Rosie Mounds and you can hike those stairs out to Lake Michigan. And so I think it's really important for everybody to be active in some way, shape, or form. If you're unable to walk, riding a bike, joining a gym, planning for just $10 a month. So I mean, there's just so many ways that you can be active, and then being outside just adds that extra, especially for caregivers. Gives them a chance also to kind of bond with, let's say, their child that they're out there walking with. Like I said, Jesus Trail, I do it all the time with the kids, so that'd be something that they could start, discussing goals, plans, concerns, whatever they need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something about walking outside that makes any conversation feel way less formal.
Yes, very much so. They open up and they're a little less stressed.
Yeah, that's great advice. Is there an impactful moment or story from working here at Wedgwood with the teens that's really stuck with you?
Wow. There's a lot of them. I think when you get a job like this and you work with these kids, you are just really blessed. It's really opened your eyes to God's work. It opens your eyes to your strengths. It opens your eyes to your weaknesses. So, but there was one, I was working with this young lady, invited her many times to go to youth group at Grand Rapids First. She says, no, I don't believe in God. I don't want to do that. And so I said, okay, you're perfectly fine. I said, anytime if you change your mind, please let me know. You're more than welcome. And so the kids actually talked her into going one time. Like, oh, come on. They've got, pool, ping pong, foosball, basketball. It's just a really fun place to go. Mm-hmm. She's like, okay, I'll go, So she goes with them, and we get there, and she's, you can see she's kind of standoffish at first, but then she joined in all the games. Just had a really good time with the peers that she was with, and then the service started, and they talked all about that, about how our past is, God forgives all of our past and gives us a new start, and you could just see her, and then they were asking like questions about, do you feel like you would like God to be part of your life? She was raising her hand, and I'm like, oh, I'm sitting back there in the parent section, and I'm like just thrilled. I'm like, thank you, God, thank you for being part of it. And then at the end, she actually did what they call an altar call, where they can walk up to the it's really a stage, and they can give their life to Christ. And she did, and I just remember it took everything not to cry, because I'm just like, for so long she's like, I don't believe in God, and then to see her do that. And I honestly, truly believe that these kids need God in their life to address the abuse and neglect that they received. And without that, it's going to be a really hard road ahead of them. But I think if they have God, they know that He's there with them and will guide them through. And I've always said that I take them to youth group all the time. And of course, it's the fun stuff that attracts them. But when they get there, it's just planting that little seed, and watching them just adapt and want to go back. And then they just keep listening. And so it's just a really good experience. But that was probably one of my favorite moments.
What a beautiful story. And how cool that it was like the activity that kind of drew her in and got her there. Yeah. What a beautiful story. What is one thing that God has made clear to you through your work here at Wedgwood?
How much these kids need good, positive Christian role models in their lives. They need us to stand up. They need us to treat them with love and respect, dignity, and still be able to hold the line and teach them the skills that they need to be successful in this world. And that is to be able to accept, direction. They need to be able to follow a program, because it's just not a program. It's school later on. It's work later on. It's a family, it's community later on. So we're just teaching them skills that they need later on. But we can only do so if we ourselves are good Christian role models. And another story really quick. There's a gentleman, I was in church with my husband, and one of the kids that had already been discharged must have been sitting behind me, because he walks up and he taps me on the shoulder, and I turned around, and it was the last person in the world I ever thought I would find there. But I had taken him to youth group, and it was just, I just thank God once again that He's there, and then, hopefully that Christian modeling helped. So
yeah. Well, and I like that you said Christian modeling too. It's not, preaching at them and telling them over and over all of the rules they need to follow. It's more of being a living example of what it is to be a Christian and fully embrace God's love.
I agree. And being in the I call it being in the trenches with them. So when things are going a little rough, or we're out there at Briggs Pool swimming and it's freezing, and I'm in the pool shivering, but it's like they really see that, and they see that you're willing to put it out there for them and to help them. So it's a really fun place to be.
And you may have touched on this a little bit, but why do you love what you do, and why do you love doing it here at Wedgwood?
Being a rec therapist is a really, in my opinion, is a great job. I enjoy it because you find a kid that comes in that has just been through horrific abuse and neglect, and you have to be able to look at this child, and you have to be able to provide creative programming to actually be able to impact them in any way, shape, or form. You have to figure out what they like, what they don't like, where their abilities are, where their challenges are, and then you can take it from there, and then you keep building upon it, so you can see him or her go from here to there, and then it's just challenging. It's always a challenge to provide what they like, and and provide what they need and make it work. And at Wedgwood, honestly, when I first saw Wedgwood, I was totally impressed because you have a gym, you have a Jesus trail, you have a fitness center, you have a chapel, you have beautiful outdoor grounds that we can use. I mean, there's so many different places that you can use to provide these kids services. And it just makes it gives you more creativity to do your programming. So
yeah,
I've enjoyed it.
Great. What is one thing you want to make sure that our listeners know about Wedgwood, the kids and families we serve, and or the importance of comprehensive wellness?
Well, first of all, I think I've always said this. I think West Michigan is one of the most generous areas I've ever been in. Our boys absolutely love getting the tickets to the Whitecaps games and to the Grand Rapids Gold games. And there are people that have volunteered. They come in and help us do our garden group, and they've come in and do the dog therapy, and they come in and they do, we've had people do trauma yoga. I mean, we've had people come all up from the community just to help our guys out, and not to mention all the donations that they have given for the holidays and for, just clothing and whatever thing that they need. It's really nice to have that support because these kids need to know that they're a part of a community. Once again, it's just a really supportive community. And in terms of wellness is such a comprehensive word. It takes in everything everything in your life, from the 8 areas that we touched on earlier. And I think not just for our kids that we service, but for our staff also, we need to take care of ourselves because it is such a fun, exciting, challenging job, but it also can be really tough. These kids have been through a lot of abuse and neglect, and so it comes out in their behaviors. And so a lot of times those behaviors are centered on us, and so we have to be professional enough to accept them and to redirect them and to understand and be empathetic to their abilities. So,
yeah, and just remembering that they are all connected.
Yes.
So if taking care of one is taking care of all of them.
Exactly. And you learn that from our job about how these relationships are reciprocal, because not only do those kids get our input and our hopes of positively impacting their lives, but they impact ours too. We learn an amazing amount. I walk up and down the hall sometimes at night doing the 15-minute bed checks, and I just look in their little window to make sure they're okay. And I look at him like, oh my gosh, that's a little kid. He might have been that little kid that was having a rough day and telling you all about it, but he is a little kid. He's maybe 12, he may be 18, but he's still a child, and he still needs all that nurturing and everything we can from all 8 areas of the wellness in order for him to hopefully move on and have a positive life.
What a beautiful perspective, Chris. It was really well said. Thank you for sitting down with me today for this coffee break conversation and about wellness. Your heart for the kids and commitment to supporting them as they discover who they were created to be is so valuable and very appreciated. So it's been a treat to talk to you today.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.